Hi, it's me, Tracy, your literary and tea time companion. And today we are talking about reading for the sensitive soul. Do you feel yourself to be a sensitive soul? Do you feel things a bit more than maybe you might imagine other people feel? Do situations overwhelm you? And do you find reading a great refuge for feeling a bit sensitive in this world when sometimes it feels all a bit too much? Well, this is a safe place for you to be, and if you are like me, who also feels like a sensitive soul, I invite you for this conversation for reading for the sensitive soul. This episode is a companion to one that I shared a few days ago, Books to Heal the Heart. That particular episode was dealing with books and reading to help cope with grief and difficult situations. This one today is about reading for the sensitive soul. And I will preface this by saying that I am not a medical professional, and maybe this conversation will open up some feelings for you, and please do feel free to share them here. But if you feel that you are in need of some medical support, I really hope that you will seek that out. The highly sensitive person, HSP, as sometimes we are called, is a person who has a heightened sensory level to a stimuli of different sorts, and that could be physical stimuli, emotional, social stimuli, social situations, and we're a little bit sensitive, and the templates that society offers us as the ideal mode of being and operating in the world sometimes seems to be the extroverted person. There are lots of different types of personality traits, personality types, and we're all beautiful. There is nothing wrong with any of us. And some of us just feel a bit more sensitive to things that happen and things that are happening in the world at large. And we are all just beautiful souls having a beautiful experience here. And some of us respond in a more heightened way to different stimuli. And sometimes we just need more time to process all of that. And I personally have always found books to be a great way to cope in a way with heightened situations or things that I'm dealing with in life. And I think maybe most of us, regardless of how we maybe view ourselves, feel that books are great companions in this world as we go through all situations of life. And I thought that it would just be nice to have a conversation to share some reading that I personally have found of great benefit in life. As a few years ago, I realized that I am a very highly sensitive person, and I have been all my life. When I was younger, those labels did not exist. And while it can be helpful to have a label to understand who we are and what makes up our personalities, we are who we are, and just honor who we are is the best thing that we can do. And I thought that I would share some works of fiction as well as different types of nonfiction that resonated with me very much, sort of fictional characters that I felt were very much in line with my sensitive spirit, as well as books, nonfiction books that also resonated, but also offered me maybe practices to help just be myself in the world, be the best that I can be with my sensitive spirit. So we'll start with fiction. I often begin with fiction here. And Anne of Green Gables, the series by Lucy Maud Montgomery, comes to mind immediately for me when I think about Anne Shirley, who is sort of a fictional personification of the sensitive soul, a bright young girl with a huge imagination. And we go along with her through several books as she grows, from a rough start in life to finding family, a found family, and love situation, friends, going through school and educational system, just coping with lots of big things in life, as we all do, and challenges, and the resilience to come through challenges, and pursue dreams. Anne was a big one for dreams, wasn't she? I really resonate with Anne Shirley so much. I always have. Another work of fiction was that I thought about when I was making this list of books for the sensitive soul. Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. And this was a sort of a sweet, sad story that has a bit of a gentle look on grief and trauma, and how you can learn to open up after having kind of built up walls and closed yourself off, and how much strength it takes to do that, to make a big change like that in your life, to open yourself up to life and living and other people, not the least. It's more a very good example of how to come out of that situation to thrive, not just survive, but to thrive. It's a really great book, very, very tender-hearted book. For some fantasy fiction, I thought of the House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This is a really heartwarming story about a found family and love and acceptance, and a focus on creating a very safe and supportive environment for young people to also thrive, not just survive, and especially with encounters with the outside world. It deals with a group of children, magical children. They have special abilities, and this is such a heartwarming story on thriving, not just surviving. Another fantasy work, probably more sci-fi, but I found that it has sort of fantastical elements to it, was the Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. And this was such a fun story about a tea monk and a sentient robot. And they're questioning a lot of things, including what it means to lead, to live a good life. And there is just so much charm in this story. It just brings out all the warm fuzzies, and especially for the sensitive heart. I really loved these fictional selections for those with a sensitive spirit, and I'm thinking that you will enjoy them very much too. Now turning to some poetry for the sensitive soul. I couldn't resist sharing the House of Belonging, David Whyte's debut collection of poetry. It's one of my favorites, and I love how he weaves the mystical, the spiritual, along with the everyday. And this is a beautiful collection that sort of connects us to nature and the elements, fire, air, water, earth, and space. And this is such a tender and soothing and arousing collection where we can meet how we belong in the world, who we are, how we belong to ourselves and each other and the world at large. It's such a beautiful, beautiful collection. I highly recommend it. If you are highly sensitive soul, I recommend this collection for everyone, actually. And of course, I can't resist mentioning Mary Oliver's Devotion. This is one of my favorite collections. This is a very big collection of her work, pulled from her works, many works from through over the years. It's just very highly poetic. There's such a lovely way she had with putting a spiritual lens on nature and life and love and mortality. We are here for such a short period of time. And I think that she always reflects so beautifully on all the stages of the heart and life. And Emily Dickinson, the complete poems of Emily Dickinson, her gift of language was just so pure and sharp and brilliant and inward looking, very philosophical at times as well. I feel that her poetry holds kind of a solitude about it that is, as I say, very pure, has a sacred quality, this silence, this solitude that seems to be like a bubble around her words and what she is sharing from the heart. I think of Emily Dickinson, a bit like Anne Shirley, sort of a real image for the sensitive soul. These are some very beautiful works of poetry for the sensitive spirit, and poetry in general is a reflection of the spirit, of the heart. And there are so many great works out there. I hope that you will share your favorite works with me. And now for some nonfiction reading for the sensitive soul. And I have several different books lined up in this category, the nonfiction category. And the first would have to be The Highly Sensitive Person, How to Survive and Thrive When the World Overwhelms You, by Elaine N. Aron. And Aron was the person who really created the term highly sensitive person, HSP, and brought this sort of mode of personality, this traits of personality into the psychological mainstream. And this book was one of the first to really be in the broader public sphere about this topic. And I found it at a time when I was discovering my sensitive spirit and what it meant. This book really supported me in understanding this part of who I am much, much better. And it really does help anyone who feels a bit sensitive to understand their unique wiring. And honoring how our nervous system works and responds to various stimuli. It's just a really great support for fostering self-trust and knowledge and resilience as we operate in the world at large as a sensitive person. And for some more nonfiction, the next couple are have a creative aspect to them. And I couldn't resist adding The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, the now very much famed 12-week book, a path to creativity, discovering your creative spirit through beautiful practices like journaling, play, artist dates, play dates, and just bringing a spiritual awareness to your life and your endeavors. And I really love this book. I have practiced with this book at different intervals throughout my adult life and found it a great support for focusing on creative endeavors in my life, but just being a creative person in the world, and just it really just helps to build your self-awareness and how we can be the best that we can be operating in the world through a creative lens. It's a fantastic book. Her other books have a similar flavor, so I can recommend most any of them. But the Artist's Way is a really great way to start the morning pages practice, where you're just doing stream of consciousness, writing over 3 pages in the morning. I don't always do those in the morning. I do them when I want to do them. And it's really a helpful way to start your day or end your day, just letting it go. It's a great practice. There's a lot of great practices in this book for encountering your creative heart, but also your sensitive side. It's a great combination. Also with creativity in mind, Bird by Bird, Some Instructions on Writing and Life by Anne Lamott. And this is a classic book for writers, which is it's a beautiful book on where the writing life and life intersect, where they meet, the creative and life meet. And it's just really funny It's very raw. It's really hilarious at times, but it's also really helpful and motivational. It's a fantastic book, whether you are a writer, writing is a creative endeavor for you in any way, even if you were just enjoying journaling, if you just enjoy the craft and the beauty of writing, this is a great book for sensitive souls. And also in the nonfiction category, these next two do have an element that maybe are connected with healing and grief. As I mentioned at the top, a recent video exploring sensitivity and grief. And a book that I have found really helpful was Healing Through Words by Rupi Kaur. This is sort of a guided poetry and writing journal type of a book that is designed to help you express grief, trauma perhaps, love, loss, all the big things. It's a really great writing support guide for channeling the emotional journey, I would say. I found it very helpful. It's a really beautiful book. If you enjoy journaling, really digging in, I can really recommend Healing Through Words for the sensitive soul. And I couldn't not mention also some Mary Oliver, Thirst, her collection of poetry, Thirst, which deals directly with grief after the death of her longtime partner in life. And I just love how she uses nature and putting a spiritual lens on nature and the experience of grief in this particular poetry collection. It is just exquisite. I really recommend this book for anyone who might be going through a time of loss, of grief, of difficulty. It really does help you kind of open up the heart, have the bravery to open up the heart about what you might be holding on to, if there's some grief or loss. And it's interesting, I think, how as a highly sensitive person, sometimes there can be this little edge of sadness sometimes as we try to cope in dealing with the world, with our sensitivities. I was trying to think how I wanted to explain this, and sometimes I think I feel a bit at loss for words, but sometimes there is this edge of sadness that maybe sometimes we mistakenly believe that we ought to be more or different in the world than who we are, that we should, be like other people. But we are who we are, and we need to be reflecting ourselves out into the world. Everyone is everyone, and we are all our own individuals, and that's the way we were designed to be, and to honor that and to reflect that into the world. But there are sometimes where it feels a little bit sad, when we are just figuring out what this sensitivity is and why, and the uniqueness of it. And there's nothing wrong to have that feeling sometimes. And it's a beautiful feeling when we can encounter poetry or journaling or making art. Art is also a great way for us sensitive spirits to get out what's on the inside. So books especially are a great way for us to discover the unique aspects of our sensitive nature, and to not be afraid of being a sensitive soul out in the world. This is just a very small selection of books that I personally have found very supportive for me in my journey to understanding myself as a sensitive soul in the world. And I'm always learning more. And I hope you will share with me books that you have found very supportive as well, helping us to understand that it's just okay being who we are as sensitive beings. And I believe that we are all sensitive beings. We are just all beautiful people having this experience, and we're having it together. And this is a very safe place for you to be, to share this journey. So I hope that you enjoyed this a little bit different episode today. And I'm very much in a place of healing in my life right now, as I'm going through a period of grief. And I'm also going through a time of big creative changes and growing in my life. So there is a lot going on the inside, and that's coming out to meet you. And I am glad that you are here. I'm so glad that you are here. I thank you all very much for being here. I thank you for all the new subscribers. I'm so glad that you are with me. And I thank you for everyone who stops by so very often to have a lovely conversation over a cup of tea and sharing our reading and our life together. I thank you so much for today. And until next time, I wish you happy reading. And as always, I wish you many blessings. I will see you again very soon.